All right. Hello, everyone. This is Phil Fernaro, and this is Lightbulb Moments. It's all about the energy. Take two, right? We're always happens. So technology. Sorry, you guys had to wait a couple minutes. We're having some fun here, having a couple of drinks and talking to you live here for Lightbulb Moments. So this is called Lightbulb Moments Wise Guy Roundtable. Some of us are brighter than others. Take two. And our first episode was our first live episode was episode 137, which was back November 7th of 2025. And what's funny about this is that when we talk about something, some of us are brighter than others. We've invited Bill Carney to sort of help out with that concept. So Bill Carney's a first timer here. He was episode 14. Nick Dubach and Alex Rodriguez are giving us this wonderful spot to the famous Dewire Studios. And he was episode 107 with Frank Filik. We've got Mike O'Mara tonight, episode 105. Jason Kornick, episode 7. Steve Palmer, episode 15, and a couple other ones, right?
Still one of the most downloaded episodes that you've done. So God bless.
No, whenever we have a lie, we're going to drink. He is in the top 5, and
behind me,
behind Jason Kornick, episode 4. So, or episode 7. Yeah, he's number 4. And then obviously Bill Carney we talked about. So the cool thing about all this is that we have this great group of individuals that sort of inspired this episode and this podcast in general. And these are the people here that have sort of continued to not only spark me at the beginning, but continue to evolve this podcast. And that's why I like to bring these people on, because as we'll talk about more in this episode, these are my people. And I feel strongly that they're sort of the inspiration for the next step. We're sorry to say that Nick can't be here tonight. He was out of town. And then John Rott, get better, my friend. He's unable to make it as well. And he's also our sponsor at Horton's Home Lighting. Here we go.
John should do more of this.
Yeah. Next time we'll get him. So here's the most important thing. We want you guys to participate. So go ahead and, go into the chat here or leave a message on the Spark line if you want to be heard on the podcast. I think we have 3 people that have added to the Spark line already. We'll listen to them and try to deal with those things on as we go through this. And just want to talk a little bit before we get into some of the questions and some of the discussions of what we've done so far. And my goal when we started this was just to get some good conversations going and build a community, which we now call the Bright Community, that can help each other and can grow each other through the various guests and discussions we've had. So we just passed, I think, 194 released episodes. We have something about 220 that are going to be released in a couple of days here. Guest episodes we started with, then we shifted to flash moments. And that's inspired by the feedback that I get or if I'm inspired, if I see something that's really important, then I'll put it on a solo cast on Tuesday. Then we got in and we got really excited. We got supporting our community. And I think we started with Brew Moon with Steve Palmer, his charity. We've done Legacy Guild. We've done Optwell. We've done the H Foundation and many more. And this gives us a platform. And I think everybody in our Bright community, those people listening today, should listen to those episodes and try to support your own communities in the same way. So then we decided, hey, we need some more input from the community, more than me just talking to people, because if we've known anything else, the growth of this community has been directly related to people interacting, listening to the guests and contacting them. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Some of the most inspirational stories happen with some of the people that were here today. And then we want you to call in and be part of it. You can be part of the Bright community by listening, but we also want you to come in and be very, very empathetic and tell us about your situation or give us ideas, guests, so that we can grow the podcast. Then we got into live episodes. This is the 3rd or 4th of that. Now we're getting into YouTube and a lot more video. You see our growth on LinkedIn. And then we went in even internationally. So all these things are starting to blend together. And Mike O'Mara is going to have one of my favorite stories. I can't wait to tell that one. That one's a doozy. And obviously we got our swag. We have some coffee cups, some pens, quarter zips, T-shirts, polos, and more stuff coming your way. So, and today, and it's very interesting, on our right sleeve are the relationship capital. So that's become, and you'll hear that a lot as we talk about, I think tomorrow's episode directly relates to relationship capital, but that's sort of what we're building on Lightbulb Moment. This is what we're trying to build over a period of time. one of the other really cool things that's coming up in the future is our website expansion. So what's really interesting about that is my wife's cousin, Dan O'Donohue, was on a recent episode, is really good with putting these things together. So we're going to expand it. It's going to be very, very interactive and very exciting. So, and then the last thing I'll talk before we get into the group here is that our team has expanded. You know, when I tell you that it's so easy to develop people that are interested in this, and we've grown the team drastically. Obviously, we can't do any of this without Valerie Walls, and we got to bring her on one of these days. She drives this. She's the inspiration behind it. You know, if we didn't have her, this thing wouldn't be going anywhere near. Early stages, Erin Walls, her daughter, big part of this. Doug Sandler and Turnkey Podcast, our producers rocking it. Molly Lucas, Sabitra, our recent addition, Sarah Williamson, really sort of driving attention to our LinkedIn and social media. And now we've got these new add-ins as of the last month or so. So Vera Gavrilovich, she was episode 149, helping with the marketing and the growth of the podcast, making it more of a serious company. Lou Wallach is now from episode 139, who's now in second place. Lou, you got to pump it up a little bit. And he's helping us with the media. And then, of course, we talked about Dan O'Donohue in episode 185. So big introduction. So we're going to have a lot of fun here today. And let's open it up to the group. Bill Carney, let's start with you, man.
You put me to sleep, Phil. Everyone here is like, we're over there nodding off, waiting for you to stop talking for once. And this isn't one of your little flash moments here. This is all of us here together to talk. So I'm excited to be here. And one of the reasons is because what this has brought to me is, this is about our community and people. And I went back to our episodes and looked. Everyone had something to say. It was very similar. I mean, Jason, you said, act like how you want people to act. That was me. So it's about people. Steve Palmer, good friends matter. That was one of your things. Also, you can always start with a Bloody Mary if there's a problem. Mike, you said one of the great things was, it doesn't matter who you do it, what you do, it's who you do it with. That's really amazing. And then Phil, the one thing I find from you that was actually insightful was I forgot we have alcohol. That was in the live event last time. So it is about the people and bringing people together and the relationship part of this, as you say, relationship capital. So excited to be here to have that conversation tonight and build upon our relationship capital we're going through.
Yeah, and it's what's interesting with you, Bill, is that no matter where you're at, you take your long walks in the community, but whenever there's an episode, you always pull out the light bulb moment and send it to me. So it gives me a little bit of an inspiration because I like the feedback. And I don't know if I've ever told you that before, but real important that you do that for me.
Well, I think it's important for us all to look, because my light bulb moment's not the same as everyone else's.
It's true.
And you may have a different opinion of what it is. And it's just good for us all to listen and talk about it, because you learn other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, and that's how you grow as a person.
Yeah, it's interesting when you start talking to somebody. Every conversation, they're maybe thinking it's something else. And the audience, right, our Bright community, they pull something different. Even if we're having the same subject, the way someone projects it as a guest makes a big difference. So
Absolutely.
Cool. Jason, what do you think, man?
I'm excited. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation tonight. Going to see how many times Mr. Steve Palmer lies in these stories and see how much we can get him to tell the truth. We all agreed that we're going to take a drink when Steve lies, and Val brought in 3 cases of wine, so it might be a short night tonight.
I thought we were going to drink when we mentioned John Roth's name.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was about when you lied.
Now you're just making up stories.
Oh, okay.
I'll drink either time. It's fine.
All right, Steve, what's going on here? It looks like Bill Carney's challenging a little bit.
Well, I would like to change seats, first of all, 'cause I don't think I need to be sitting by no. Jason's just jealous, and that's okay. His restaurant's a beautiful restaurant, and I love it very much. Life is good. Still plugging along in the political world with the Metro Board, and that's getting a little crazy right at the moment. But just in the business world and friendship and all that stuff, I think I'm excited to have a conversation tonight about what the true meaning of light bulb moments is, because I've had quite a few from listening to your show, your podcast. But I also find it fascinating that somehow or another in the middle of your podcast, you can always somebody can pull out their light bulb moment. They don't even realize that was it. That's what sparked them.
Yeah.
But you drag that out of them. And, to everybody else out there, we all have light bulb moments. You need to figure out what they are and embrace them and keep that focus, because those light bulb moments are life changing.
What do you think, Mike?
Happy to be here. I think that I haven't spent enough time on light bulb moments lately. Not talking, but listening.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go down into a rabbit hole when you're working and you really don't come up for air. So I was looking forward to coming here tonight and hearing what people have to say.
Yeah, see, it's with the beauty of the break community. You don't have to always listen. You participate, and then you help somebody else, and that's all what we're trying to do here. So what I think I want to start off about is, so we just had our. I mean, the timing is really good here. We just had our annual networking event. Fernaro Law started it, but now it's sort of become our bright community. We had our annual networking event at Post 031 the other day. It's always the first Monday after tax day. And Bill, you've been through to almost all of them. I know you missed this one this year, right?
Out of time.
Yeah. But just let's talk a little bit about first, Jason. I mean, you're so gracious to our community. You always host every year. We eliminated some of the suffering, leaving Fernaro Law and bringing it to your restaurant on a Monday when you were closed. Talk a little bit about the feeling in the room and what we've built over that period of time.
I mean, if we go back 8 years, 9 years, what has developed to now? I mean, 8-9 years ago, it was all about the local people. It was all the local restaurants were there, local banking people were there, local realtors were there. Now you come and there's people from all over that are coming and with different knowledge and everything. And the networking, you're seeing deals happen all night long. And the relationships built of, hey, you need to talk to this person and that person. And before, you never saw that. Now you can see it's a lot younger. And the fields that are there, it's completely different. So the energy before was high, but now it's extra high and exciting to see where it's going to keep going to.
Yeah, that feeling that when you walk in the room, normally when I network or interact, over 50, 60 people, it feels uncomfortable. We have like 180 to 200 people in that room, and it feels like it's 30, at least from my perspective. So, Mike, what'd you think? You've been actively pursuing.
It was crowded. I got I got cornered by a couple people.
Yeah.
And pinned down on some things.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
To walk in a room like that with that many people, I was surprised at how the wide variety of people that I knew from kind of all over the Chicagoland area and even outside. So that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a good mix of people, and everybody was very low key, and like a lot of deals happening.
Yeah. Cool. Steve Palmer.
I love the event, and it's in our world kind of like the who's who time to get out and be seen and be a part of. You don't want to miss that Fernaro Law event. But I think this year, besides holding court in the kitchen, which was a ton of fun, it got younger. It was great to see so many young people, and from your office and others, to meet and talk to and find out their perspective of what was going on. I also met people from that are now here now, but we're from other states, and this and we were talking, and these are people that you've met through your networking group that you're a part of,
Consortium,
and the consortium group, and those guys were great. It's fun. It's good to get a little piece with people and make some mental notes, get a card of somebody or something from somebody if you want to continue the conversation somewhere. But I'm always fascinated. I always learn something, so it's a great event.
Yeah. So this is the funny story to the audience tonight is that when we first had it at my office, it was like unbearably hot, and people were jammed in and so forth in our conference room, and the only time you could see Steve Palmer, because he took up space in my office, he said he held court in my office. So everybody had to escort them in to see Steve. They go, "Where's Steve?" "Oh, here, come on with me." So very good. So, Bill, past years, what do you think?
Past years, I like Steve. I held court, helping Jason up, and Jason's up there cooking. I'd watch him run up and down the stairs. Stop running up down the stairs. You're working hard. So, Mike Zara and I would help you to bring the food up and down the stairs. And I did hear something about much younger this year. Is that a correlation to the old man in the room not being there?
Yeah, the average went down.
Offense there.
Well, that was sort of the cool concept here. Uh-oh, we're already down one bottle.
Did you lie?
He spoke. He must have.
So anyway, let's shift gears a little bit here. So talking about the youth of what we're doing, we just recently started, and we called it the Young Person Entrepreneur event, but we're switching to the Emerging Entrepreneurs. So we had our first event in February at Stadium Club. Steve hosted.
You had to go to a bigger venue for this one.
Yeah, we like to say it's a
That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah, for those who haven't listened before, there's a little battle. We definitely shouldn't have put them next to each other. So Steve, we definitely decided is that after I started Lightbulb Moments, about 4 or 5 different people just called me, right? And, it was John DeCecco, Ivana Vukanic, Stevan Vukanic, Alec, obviously we talked to, and all of a sudden these people are contacting me and saying, hey, how can we network and have some sort of level of connection? And I go, after the 4th one, I go, this is something. So what we did is we got some mature entrepreneurs, Mr. Carney, and then we brought in the youth and interacted them a little bit, because what I hear is that they don't connect at the same level. And this is important because our Bright community ends up being all age ranges. And I originally thought we were focused on business between, 45 and 65 and, how these people grew. And all of a sudden the other night, my mom's, and we'll get to the point in a second, as usual, a tangent. My mom's talking to her 80-year-old friend that she taught with, and she goes, "Oh yeah," she goes, "I always listen to Lightbulb Moments." So it really doesn't matter as long as you're getting something out of it. So when I heard this, I started asking these people. I said, "If we had an event, would you attend?" And we had a wonderful event. And we're having our second one, timely as good, as May 28th, again at the Stadium Club. If you're, youth, you're in the area, or you want to fly in, obviously you're welcome. So, Steve, tell me how that sort of came together.
Well, it came together because you said, I think we should have this event here. And I said, absolutely. So that part wasn't, but the event itself, the concept of you bring in young entrepreneurs or the youth that are interested in business in the world. And you brought also a very high tier of executives into the room, and the opportunity for these people, these younger people, to mix and mingle with themselves, but also to mix and mingle with a tier that door is not open to.
Right.
And I was impressed with everybody was there. It was very fun. I was able to have my son participate in it, and I'm like, you have 2 purposes here, and one is to meet people in your age group and everything else, and get them interested in our business. But then number 2 was to learn from the senior people that are in this room, that they're fascinating people, and their story that they can tell will help you in your life and improve your life. And so he came back to me, he goes, I think I met everybody, and everything else. Went down the list, and he had met everybody. I said, well, did you meet Regan Hogarty? He said, no. I'm like, you got to meet Regan Hogarty.
Yeah.
If you haven't met him, you haven't met all your goals for the night. And he's like, which one is he? I go, that's not my job. Your job is to go around, mix and mingle, and find them. So he did. He found Regan. I had a great conversation with him. And for those who know Regan, he's a great man, and obviously Mike knows him very well, but cares about people, but cares about the youth in particular. And we had a great conversation with Robert. And so I thought the event itself was a home run, not only just on that aspect, but on the personal aspect of my son being able to participate and where he got to go from there.
That's awesome. Anybody else had any?
Well, now to be fair, Regan Hogarty is a bit of a wallflower. So no, I think this is a wonderful idea, because one of the things about this is, as we age, we learn how to network better and better.
Yeah.
And when I was young, networking was always through your parents. There was no internet. There was no way to talk, phones. You just went out and met the people you're supposed to meet with and hang with, and made each step interpersonal. There was no big events like this. It was one-person event, one-off events. Now it's more, gives them a chance to meet with a big group of people, see other people interact in a really comfortable way of learning how to network at a young age and building that group as we get older.
Got it.
The networking aspect for the younger people, I mean, COVID destroyed networking, destroyed any kind of technology for them to reach out to people because they were on a computer. They weren't in classrooms. They weren't in college. They were in their dorm rooms. You know, these events help these kids to network, to have conversations with people. And that's where most bright ideas come from, is just the start of a conversation. And we talk about this a lot, of just the conversations can lead to things that you had no idea or expectations where these little conversations could lead to. And having these younger entrepreneurs could hear something and spark a thought in their mind to expand their horizons of what their true goals are. I think that's why these events are going to keep growing more and more and more, because in a year from now, 2 years from now, people who went to the first one are going to be 3 years out, and they're going to say, my first one was here, now look at me now. And it's just in life in general. When you network, when you lean on your friends, when you build relationships, that's what takes you places, is relationships you build. And it all starts with the networking and just small conversations that people don't realize they're having. And it just is going to lead them to places that are really going to change their lives.
Well, I think Jason's referring to the foundation of relationship capital and where we can go with that.
I love it. We're going to talk a lot of relationship capital. Thanks for bringing it up. We're going to be talking about it a lot. You want, Mike, do you have anything else to add about?
Sure. I would think that some of these younger people, in my mind, look at networking almost like speed dating. And what I prefer to do is tell them these should be connecting events. You're looking for people that you connect with in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't necessarily have to be business, that you start off by connecting, something personal. And that's how you build relationships. So I'm always thinking more about connecting dots than networking with these young people, because I see them just kind of bounce. You know, I get it. It's a networking event, not to take away from that,
No.
but more of a connecting event. So they're really trying to connect with other people.
Yeah, that's a light bulb moment if I've ever heard one. So that's the idea. And it's hard to get away from the word networking. And it is more about connection and alignment. And that's what we're trying to do. And, you know, Steve, thanks for bringing up relationship capital, because that's sort of where we're going is that before I define it, I would like to hear what you guys say about defining it. But that connectivity is what we need people to understand, is talking to the same people. And that's part of our role, both at the annual event and at the Emerging Entrepreneur, is if you see people talking to each other that know each other, they know they're going to get yelled at if they see me. You know, get away from that person, go stretch yourself, you know, get out of your comfort zone for a little while. So that's a real big, important part of it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, let me tell you. So before we talk about relationship capital, I want to sort of figure out is that my goal for this group of young people is for them to take control of this organization. So for those that are listening, and, you know, hopefully they'll listen later, what steps would you say that they should take, you know, to take this away from us as the leader of the organization, the Emerging Entrepreneurs? What kind of things should they be thinking about?
You want them taking it away from you?
Yeah. So I don't
create their own board,
all right,
or advisor group or board that takes ownership of this.
What kind of steps would that be? And how do you get them to that point?
Ask the question, who wants to do this?
Got it. Any other comments?
Yeah, I think also we talk about this way, Phil. You're looking at it. We know what we like and how we want to do things. We don't know how young people are thinking. What do they want out of this? Have them tell what they want, not what we want them to have, and build it together. So that's kind of building on Mike's point of have the board there, have their own direction.
Interesting. So we have somewhat of a, maybe we'll have a discussion about that and see how they respond. I'm sure they'll be a little shy to start with. That's a good idea, what they want.
But with the networking of the young people, they need to figure out who's in their network. You know, who are they striving to be or be like? You know, if you look at the restaurant industry, like I can name 5 or 6 restaurants or restaurateurs or chefs that I look up to or inspired to be like. Well, that's where you have to network to figure out where did they get their knowledge from? How did they learn to do things? And learn from those people. You know, you're not going to learn much from a banker besides the finance department of the restaurant industry, except for someone who's worked it and what is important to the restaurant. So surround yourself with people with knowledge in your industry and learn from those people. But it's also great to, get a little bit outside of that if it's in construction, because not every restaurateur is a great restaurateur,
Sure.
but you might learn something from another business owner who has it.
He did look at you, Steve, when he said that. I don't want to say that out loud.
But as a business owner, you can learn a lot from them of failures and what they succeed at. So they need to get their core group of people and build off of that.
Got it.
I think the concept of someone taking over and doing whatever is just, it's a great idea to have, but a premature thought at the moment. I think you're so in the infant stage of this right now. What you've started can grow, and I think it can and will. But it's growing. I'm sorry for saying so many times, but it's growing because you are someone they look up to, and your skills of connection and everything else, which we'll be talking about more tonight, transcends into this group right now. It's a small group. I think the next group will be much bigger because I know that like my daughter and her boyfriend want to come, and other friends of theirs want to come because of what they heard about from the first one. And I think that this will continue. But that growth prospect, right now we're in the infant stage of this,
Right.
and it's got to figure out where it's going to go. But what you have laid down for the foundation of it is amazing, and that's why this is going to be successful and very game changing. And that it's truly the foundation you just laid, how you did it, who you're doing it with, the people that your connections that you brought, so that there was this multi-level tier event going on. Nobody does that.
Well, we're trying to do things differently here, and this is the whole concept behind Relationship Capital and trying to solve for this problem. Hello, Val. Oh, I see. She plotted against me. The camera shifted over to me. All right. Anyway, the concept here is that we want to develop this over a period of time, and I think the most important thing that we did, it wasn't brought up by me, and this is why I really value the relationships we have. It was Nate Wasson and Jeff Egan. They go, wouldn't it be great? And they both said it separately. They said, wouldn't it be great to have a panel discussion? I said, oh my goodness, this is great. And then obviously other people in the room affirmed it and said, yeah, let's do it. So now we're gonna have a panel discussion, and really gonna have one young guy, Alec Eichert, who's gonna come on and be part of and just get his perspective, which will obviously be different than ours. So it's gonna be kind of a nice way to start. But I think we probably should start laying the groundwork. And I think our mature entrepreneurs should be asking these questions during the event. Hey, what would you like to see happen in this organization? How can we grow it? We've already talked to Alec about making a webinar out of this, so that we can go further. Vera's, who I mentioned earlier, her son said, oh, he would love to be on this. So as we grow this, and the technology is obviously here for us to do it, I think it'll be a next stage thing. And it's going to have to be all of us. I mean, it's not just strictly to the 5 people in the room. It's all the people that want this to happen. So any thoughts on that, or should we move on to Relationship Capital?
Well, I mean, everything you're talking about is Relationship Capital, but I think that at the end of the day, the Young Entrepreneurs organization that you're wanting to start, you're starting in a different direction, and you're starting it in a full Finaro thinking process. And I always tell my kids and everything else, I'm like, listen to Mr. Finaro, because you're one of those people that I love to listen to and learn from and absorb from. And then you brought people in the room that are the same type of people, different levels and different businesses and whatever it may be, but gave the opportunity to talk to the younger people and share their story a little bit and everything else. and let them absorb a little of that. And at the same time, they had time to be with each other and have a little fun and have conversations and maybe build personal relationships there. That's the game changing part of the business world that you're trying to create or you are creating. And it's the fact that we can, I can talk about my relationship with many different businesses and things like that. They didn't start with me doing business with them the next day. You
Yeah.
know, it's all about meeting people, talking to people. And like Mike was saying, it might not be a business connection, but if it's a connection, you never know where it's going to be down the road. 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, that might be the time you need that person, and you're going to be thankful that you had the opportunity to meet them.
Yeah. Anything else? All right. So I think as we think about the concept of relationship capital, I'm interested to see, because this is a term that's not very well used in the world. At least it's on Google and so forth. And it was kind of funny. I tested it a little bit because I never thought about it. What would your definition be relationship capital, if you have one?
I don't know if there's a good definition for it. I mean, everyone's going to be a little
Bill
different.
Carney, pick up that microphone so they hear you loud and clear.
You really want to hear me?
I do. See, that makes a big difference. See?
Well, you make Jason and I share. You know,
Yeah,
that's
he doesn't share very well.
no one else. Jason shares well. No one else shares well, apparently.
Jason and I are sharing today.
Do I need a drink? Because he's lying.
Yes.
Sorry. Back to relationship capital. I'm sorry. You know, everyone looks at, again, we all look at things differently. And I go back to how you started this whole thing based on where you started from. All your friends, you picked us, say, hey, you're going to be on my show, right? And we all said yes, except for one guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what episode John finally got on this. John Rott, Steve, so you can drink. I don't know what episode that John got on, but that was, to me, was kind of watch you grow the relationships, and finally get him to come on.
Yeah.
Is kind of the nexus of your relationship capital, right? So I don't know if there's you want to make it a term that means anything or define it, but it's really about who we all are and how we use who we know.
Yeah.
And we work together. Again, going back to how we started, I started my saying tonight, it's not what you're, Mike's saying of it's
Not what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with.
thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
And one of my things was, never pass up the opportunity to meet someone new.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it's kind of the whole thing that goes back to your networking and, and to call it young entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call this, emerging entrepreneurs. I think it's more important that it's just relationship capital is just going out and meeting new people and seeing where that takes it. And again, not worried about if there's business involved or making money out of it, just making new connections.
Yep. Love it.
It's true. Look at what the true definition of capital.
Yeah.
It can mean so many different things, but a conversation could be capital because you could gain so much from it. And anything with a gain is gain some kind of capital. So if we look at that in any conversation, any kind of relationship, those are the important things that we need to keep working on, is building relationships and building strong relationships. We always talk about, we were out tonight, we did this, we did that. What did we get out of that conversation? I believe you gave me a book. You gave us all a book.
Yeah.
Everyone brought, it was the one line a day.
Uh-huh.
And, just writing into that of what you learned that day. What did you take away from that day? Go back and still learn from that. That's still adding capital as we move forward.
Got it.
I still think relationship capital, the operative word is truly the relationship part. And so that you need to be able to build relationships with people. In those relationships, you don't know, like I said earlier, you don't know where they're going to take you. And in my world, in the restaurant business, in the 90s, I had a relationship with these guys that were always part of the restaurant association and other things, and we were friends. And Bill and Ben with Toronto Breads, and greatest guys in the world. But I didn't buy bread from Toronto Breads. I was buying from someone else. And all of a sudden, there was a problem in the company that I was with. We had issues, and it was bad. That day, that moment, I needed bread delivered to my restaurant. And I called Bill and Ben, and my relationship capital, because I had these guys and they had this
Yeah.
relationship with them. I got bread, and I've been with Toronto Breads for the rest of my life. You know, through 2 restaurants now, and that's what relationship capital can be. So it can be your lifeline. It can be so many other things other than it can be help you in your business. It can help you in your structure. It can help you in everything. But at the end of the day, it can be your lifeline. You need relationship capital and have those people there that are willing to be there for you.
Beautiful.
A lot of different levels to relationship capital.
Yeah.
I think there's the true relationship capital is the people that dig in the foxhole with you.
Mhm.
And the minute the first shot's fired, they don't jump out. They help you dig deeper. Those are the people I end up being in business with. I have a good story. We invested, my little group, and I won't say what or how much, but a lot, into a new company. I had a problem with one of the founders, not a problem with the other. Long story short, he introduced me to a guy that came in as a consultant to take over the company CEO. I ended up, things are moving fast. I said, here's the percent of the company we're going to give you, you'll vest over time. He left his old company, I still don't have a written agreement with him.
Oh.
This is important. He goes, Mike, I totally trust you. You're a man of your word. You've done nothing but back me. We're still working through all the written agreement because there were some things that came up. That's a good relationship.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
It's a big percent of the money, and it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those relationships are hard to come by, and that doesn't happen overnight, right? That
No.
happens over a period of time based on
Because
your reputation. And
relationships are also forged in the trenches.
Yeah.
When there's, like what you went through. When there's something difficult happening and the people dig in with you and help you solve that problem, that's when things get really tight.
So yeah.
Well, I think what you just both said is that uninvested capital doesn't grow. So you're investing in your relationships, and they grow.
Yeah. And then there's mutual trust and respect, and you both got each other's backs.
So that's the interesting part of this, what you guys said. And before I go on, did you notice that Jason focused on capital and Steve focused on relationship? Did anybody notice that, or just me?
Love you.
So
Very important.
You got to drink on that one.
So I think the idea here is that I every time that I deal with people, and you can see it now, and I want to talk about a little bit about this, is that my goal is to rewire human connection, and through relationship capital. And when I started going on this vision and this mission and this massive transformative purpose, is that how do we do that? And I looked everywhere and I couldn't find the term. I looked everywhere to determine what is it. It's all the things that you said: trust, respect, alignment, connection, all these things that build over time. And when relationship capital sort of described it. And then when I went out to the world, because I didn't make up the word, but then there's financial capital, there's social capital, there's reputational capital. Why not this relationship capital? And I immediately aligned with it, and that's what we're pulling. But it's more of a feeling in my mind. I feel it when I'm in that room for the annual event at Posto. I just feel that I belong there, and it's all of our people that belong with us. Now, what was very important is that what I noticed is that when I am spending time with people that are like me in terms of wanting more for other people, they also are spending time with those same type of people, and they connect me with those people, and then the circle grows larger. So do you think that this is where we're going, or are we going somewhere different than that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand.
So do you think that what we've created, see that bad question always. So do you think that what we're building here is following that process of growing people that are like us? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't listen to this podcast or don't want to be part of the Bright community or don't know how to be.
Yeah. the people that are listening are vibrating on the same energy levels we are.
Right.
Right. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. I mean, people like us, I think hanging around people like me is probably a bad idea for people. But I think people hanging around people with energy and thoughts and want to talk and have good ideas and really communicate with each other. I think that's important, and that's what you are building here.
We're building here.
You know, and Phil, you've seen it in the growth of your own. If you go back to episode 7, which was really a staticky episode, I understand, and didn't work out so well. And by episode 15, you know, the guy was killing it, I understand. So
It is very true.
Facts are the facts.
Anything else to add?
Well, I think you're the bright community that's out there, the people that are buying into your podcast, which are much more than your friends, by the way, which is very cool. You've built a following, but you have built a network that it is relationship capital. And so light bulb moments, which I love because of the fact that I think that I found light bulb moments in my life because of your podcast. And I've come to realizations of things in my life because of your podcast. But I've also improved my business life and how I talk to people and how I deal with people and who I get to deal with because of your podcast. I was just listening to the AI guy the other day and everything else. And
which one? Mohan?
yeah. But, you know, and how to, you know, and there's so much in there, but it's all about, if you're not embracing AI, you're an idiot, was the basic, you know, thing. and so, you know, I was like, all right, I'm in, you know, but, you know, I was John Rott. I was drinking John Rott. John Rott was the person who got me on Facebook like 10 years later than everybody else in the world and all these other things. And now I'm constantly using it and marketing and doing stuff on a simple level for my restaurant. But AI is here. People are using it. Jason, we talked about it last time, even using it for menu descriptions and other things. I literally embraced it after that podcast and started using it. I needed to get some reports done and some other things done. And I'm like, let me just put this into ChatGPT, see what happens.
Yeah.
And boom. And so now I'm already hooked and want to learn more. And my daughter's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. So she's going to teach me more. But that, you know, I'm 60. I'm at this end of it. And we're talking about young entrepreneurs at the other end of it. That's embracing what's happening, but listening to the trends and embracing the trends that you're bringing up on Light Bulb Moments will help anybody
Interesting.
in the business world.
Got it.
and Steve, don't forget I'm gonna butcher Monar about his name, Mohan.
Yeah, Mohan Sawhney.
Sawhney.
Yeah.
He also said a fool with a tool is still a fool. So you also have to, when you're using the AI, you have to plan. So get your daughter involved. To help you.
That a boy. Anybody else add anything? So how we doing on the Spark line and the anybody chat in here before we get on to the next question? Oh, thank you, Doug Sandler. Doug's been very, very motivational. So actually, probably should clip him on now. I know he was on the Spark line. So
because I would like to talk about Doug Sandler for a minute, to be honest with you, since we've had dinner with the guy and talked to him.
do you want to talk about before or after?
Well,
you never know what he's going to say.
I hope Doug's listening because I'm not sure he's going to be totally excited about it. But I mean, yes, Doug, you brought Phil to a level. You've upgraded and done things for him and all these other things, but this is Phil Fornaro, Doug. All right. We're past that now. You need to be embracing the Light Bulb Moments and knowing that he is the podcast that you want to brag about.
Come on. You want to put him on? All right. So
Hey, Phil, it's Doug Sandler from Turnkey Productions. Your producer. At some point in the relationship that we had, the student became the teacher. I'm watching all of these amazing things that you and your guests have been doing over the last year or so, and dozens and dozens and dozens of episodes, and I just love what you're doing, bringing light bulb moments to your audience, to your community. I love the idea of the Spark line, and interested in seeing and hearing what is coming from you in the future. So just wanted to wish you a ton of success. Thank you. Don't have anything specifically as questions other than how do you get so many people in a room together with all of those egos and negatives that are domineering the conversation? So anyway, hope you have a great time. Thanks again for bringing all the great content out.
So, see, he got even.
That could have been time more perfect if you tried.
So talking about relationship building, it's like I was in San Francisco and I went to meet him. He flew up from Santa Barbara to meet me because we were out there, and then he came actually and met us. We had dinner with him with some of the wise guys here, and I had a great Italian dinner. It's funny, he came into Chicago. You know, we didn't take him to Gibson's or Posto. We took him to a restaurant. We took him to a restaurant in Melrose Park, which was delicious nonetheless, by the way. So what was the name of it? I can't remember. Yeah, Taverna. Yeah, nice little place in Melrose. So yeah, that's the idea here is that I think over time we find people that are going to inspire us. And Doug was an interesting candidate, right? I didn't know anything about podcasting, and I'm still sort of in my infancy, but the fact that he'd been podcasting for a period of time, he was able to sort of trigger in my head that he could do all the things that I couldn't do. And I think that's critical to anything. Like the Val does everything that I can't do. And those types of relationships sort of develop to make it a win-win. Have you experienced that with any other relationships that you've had?
Well, first of all, none of us have a Val like your Val. And so we don't quite know what it's like to be Phil for now with that part of your life. But you know, I mean, bringing somebody like Doug in to help you with the podcast and bring it to the level that you have it at, it's genius. I think you hired him on the spot, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And that's part of also being at a certain level. At a certain point, you know. I mean, when you meet somebody and you know they're genuine, or you meet somebody and you know this is the direction I got to go, and the relationship, and just like yours, you're on a handshake right now. You're not even to a contract or anything else. That doesn't exist unless you truly know. And trust me, you'll fail a time or two in that, and you'll figure out who you'll then know who's genuine and who's not, and where to go with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Doug has said it was great Italian food. He called it. He texted it. So we're gonna get you on the mic, Alec. Oh, she just asked now. We're a half hour in. Thanks, Anne Marie. She's my biggest fan.
Well, and speaking of your event at Postal 31, I do want to recognize that Anne Marie was holding court bigger than you were.
Yeah, it's true.
And so, I mean, your wife, who is generally not the one who wants to put herself out there or anything else, she was holding court with everybody there and talking to people. And I was impressed. I think even to the point where somebody might have had to save her. I don't know, Jason and what.
Yeah, but doesn't she send out the bills for Finara Law?
She does.
Yeah, okay.
She does.
That's probably why she was talking to everybody.
Collection agency.
Valid point.
So, Alec, we hearing everyone okay? All right, cool. So, actually, we talked about that book. Jason brought it up, but you guys have a little book story here of your own, right?
Oh, you mean the Focus Planner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I brought one for Steve. He said he used it. He enjoyed it, so I brought him another one.
That's awesome.
I'll keep supplying him with them until he doesn't want them.
Well, that came off the first podcast,
Yeah.
and we talked, and we got done talking. I'm like, hey, that Focus Planner thing you were talking about, I think that's something I need. And you're like, oh, I'll bring you one. And the next day, he walks into the restaurant with a handwritten note and everything else in it, in relationship capital. I don't know how, that's what this is. And so right from that moment on, I mean, Mike and I have a relationship longer than kind of all you guys that
Sure.
are with me, but the fact those are the type of people you want in your life. They're gonna hear something you might want or need or whatever, and they're gonna help you make that happen. And Mike did that.
Yeah, and I think that's totally the basis of this is the sort of the giving without any expectation, just hearing. I mean, if you hear somebody needs something, why wouldn't you give it to them or help them get to that next step? And it's amazing that that's not always how we operate in this world. And that's why we want to sort of enlighten people to at least try it a couple times. So, you know, what's been really powerful to me is that as a result of this podcast, I've reached out to people that I haven't talked to in decades. I just talked to Scott Richrath, good friend of mine from third grade. I hadn't talked to him in 20 some years. And as a result of this, I was texting him every year on his birthday. He never responded. I go, why the hell is he not responding? And I realized I had the wrong phone number. So I wish some guy for like the last 10 years, happy birthday. So, but then I finally got the right number. One of my buddies, Tony Jan, gave me the right number. So I texted him. We ended up talking, and it was like immediately back to that point in time. Have you guys done that recently? And if not, why not?
Well, my wife will tell you that that's what guys do. I have friends that I don't have to talk to for a month, 5 years, 10 years. There's guys that I've known from high school that I don't see in forever, and it's just they're buddies for life, and they're this and this. And it drives my wife crazy because if you're in a certain state or wherever else, I got a guy I can call. They'll be there and help you change your flat tire or do whatever it may be because of the relationships that we have. And you know, not a sexist end of it at all. It's just kind of the DNA of the brotherhood that we grew up in. I think is where that's at.
And you really want to bring up your wife? Doesn't she owe us a pasta dinner of sorts?
Wow. Honey Tetrazzini is owed to the room. She's listening right now, so be careful.
Oh, sorry, Jenny.
Yeah, Steve actually gave her the link.
Yeah, she's been listening from the beginning. I love it. Anybody else have any connections since they've recently reached out to anybody?
Yeah, I mean that happens all the time. Like what Steve find for me, either somebody from grade school or my college, or I went to a boarding school for high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, military academy.
Where at?
I tested out a LT, so I was so I ended up at St. John's Military Academy.
It was easy.
Yeah, I mean, I got a friend from there that's a pilot at Southwest, and whenever he's in town, he just stays at our house. And still, I'm like, don't stay by the airport, just come stay here.
Come on over.
So it's just kind of reconnecting, but I think guys do that pretty frequently.
Yeah.
No, I think that's true. I mean, Steve said we don't need to talk to each other every day, but I mean, I can catch a phone call or be somewhere, run into someone I haven't seen in years, and just have a conversation with them. So I think it's different than women who need that constant reminder. When guys we don't judge it. Oh, is this person mad at me, or is this person not happy with our relationship? We just kind of take it as life gets busy, and we'll reconnect at one time later in the future.
Yeah, it just seems that we can just pick up where we start. You know, I haven't seen a guy for 5 years. I talked to him in 3 years. We can pick up as just like yesterday. You know, my good friends from college, I don't see them enough. We communicate, you know, over text and emails. But when I see them in person, it's like we're back in seniors in college and having fun. And the nice part for me in that is my wife is really good friends with their wives, so we have a great time together. So I'd love to get to know my college friends and my high school friends just because of that.
Bill, a good example of that is you and I probably hadn't talked for a little while. He's out walking, I'm out walking, and we end up walking 2 or 3 miles together and just chit chatting the whole way. Then okay, see you later, and then
6 months later, of course.
Yeah. Well, that reconnection is what we're looking for. So, yeah. Speaking of, I got to thank Bill Carty publicly. Every year, I get real busy at work. I forget about the farmers market, and he brings me the Melrose peppers. So, listen to the Larry Andolino episode on Melrose peppers.
And I still want to say, Phil, you've never made Melrose peppers for me. Thank you.
I did.
That was for me, Phil.
It was for you.
Where'd you deliver them then?
I could have sworn I made them for you. I blew it. All right, so you see where this podcast has come from, and where do you think, or what do you think we can make it better? How can we make it better? Any ideas or any feedback that you'd like to see in the future here?
I think if you had categories where certain people might want to, dial into certain podcasts. So, for instance, hey, we're gonna have the next 3 podcasts or 5 with all restaurateurs. Or we're gonna have the next 4 podcasts with VCs, venture capitalists, or private equity or bankers. I think that might be interesting just to have a topic
So
or a little bit of a category.
in advance of what is coming, or just
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
in advance.
Yeah, that's a good idea because we tape them. So yeah, that would probably be the best thing to do is just a little teaser up front. That's great.
I think also
categories,
even on
yeah.
your website, you could categorize them as
Ah.
what they are. So all these episodes, 7, 44,
catalog.
112, and
That's a
catalog them
great
and
idea.
put them all together. This is all for this. This is for this category. This case. They are.
Val says they are.
I'd say they already are. Thank you. for pointing that out.
How are they categorized though?
Val, will you come on? Oh,
So they're categories based on it's interesting how it is. There's some entrepreneurship, but it's funny. It's how people search. So we've developed the categories based on how people search on SEO, and they should fall in with some of those categories. So what I would like, as a little help is look at the categories and see if they align with what you would think or want. But the precursor saying, hey, the next 5 podcasts, here's what the topics are. That's a wonderful, wonderful idea. So anything else make it better?
Well, I said it before tonight before we're on the air. I do want this, and I thought about this some more. One of my favorites was Meathead was on.
Yeah.
That was excellent, and thank you, Phil, for you did buy me something. You brought me that thermometer when I kept saying I used the old one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
not. But I do want him to come on again. But our live episode when our 2 friends over here had the steak cook-off, Meathead can be the judge.
Oh, show it down, baby. Valerie's taking notes. Any other? That's a great idea. I think Meathead would do it too. He's local. That's a good episode. What do you got, Steve? Anything?
I mean, I like the direction you're going, what you do. I like being a part of it. I think, like I said, light bulb moments can mean so many different things to different people, but I think in this part of it, people need to think about and find the light bulb moments in their life that inspire them, that change their life, that make things happen, because it's game changing. It was game changing to me. It's been game changing to me in multiple different things that I've done, and realizing the light bulb moment, and from that moment on, embracing it and moving ahead from that with the bright light out there. It's important, and you're leading people towards that, and that's special.
Thank you, Steve. So I think we'll go one more Sparkline, but while we're getting that queued up, I want to ask this question. So very powerful thing that, Mike, I spoke about this the other day on one of the podcasts, but I want to talk about it now is that he connected with somebody.
I'll read the.
Yeah, please.
So, we did an early stage deal, and we're merging our company, which is based here, with another company in Singapore. And so I get on the Zoom with this guy from Singapore. I'm not going to say them. It's a quantum deal, quantum computing deal. And we're talking and everything. And I said, hey, send me your email, your cell phone, because that way if you want to hit me up or we need to talk about anything, let's do that during this process. So he sends me an email. Says, Mike, it was great to finally meet you. I'm looking forward to working together. Oh, wait, sorry. He says, thank you for the call earlier. Really glad we were all in sync with views and opinions. And I said, it was finally great to meet you. I'm looking forward to working together. And he's like, I heard you on your podcast. And I'm like, what? This guy's in Singapore. And I'm thinking maybe it's a different Mike O'Mara, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you talking about light bulb moments? He said, yep, that is the one. I enjoy listening to venture capital related podcasts during my workouts. I remembered your podcast vividly because you don't charge fees nor carried interest. And great point on prioritizing reliable and trustworthy relationships and partnerships. I was looking for such a team, and I'm glad you guys appeared. I mean, this guy's in Singapore.
Yeah.
Right on.
And I was thinking, how did he hear a podcast in LaGrange, Illinois? You know what I mean? It just blew me away.
Yeah. And actually, he linked in with me today.
Did he really?
He did. I sent him a LinkedIn.
Wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And so we're actually, I'm meeting him in person on Sunday. I fly out to Newport Beach because he's flying in from Singapore. And we're working through the deal and everything. So it just that really blew my mind. I called Phil right away. I'm like,
What's the
you
best?
won't believe what the hell just.
So Mike's never really that urgent on the call to speak to me. He goes, "No, you have to talk to me." I go, I'm on a Zoom with 6 people, and then I called him. It was so that energy was like the best energy. I mean, it kept me going for like a month. I was so excited, and he was excited. Mike was excited. So those are the type of things that I think are happening in our Bright community, and it's things that we don't even know about. I mean, we talked about Optwell, obviously. Some of our board, it was a result of listening to the podcast and so forth. But that's the cool thing is it doesn't matter what how it helps me in any way. This is awesome for people to do it. You guys have any of those type of experiences or have heard any of those experiences or not so much? Yeah. No. All right. Do we have someone on the
I had nobody from Singapore calling me, but willing to.
let's put Fulton up there. He usually has a good one. It's not criticizing me, is it?
Experience, I've been hearing that families and businesses are finding it more challenging to have conversations between people because our society is so polarized. I wonder, what have you found as good ways to diffuse those tensions between family members and fellow workers?
I'll take the phone.
Steve's avoiding it. He didn't like the question.
I'll be right back.
So Phil Fulton, episode number 2. It was the inspiration of. I did the book Find Your Why, and he was the one that was my. They have big. They have like a test, and you talk to someone you trust, and he was that person, and we ended up trying to find my why. It was actually what caused me to get to this point in my life where light bulb moments became a reality. So you take it first, Bill Carney.
Well, yeah. First off, Phil Fulton also said one of the great things is asking questions is a sign of wisdom. That was one of my favorite quotes from him.
Wow.
And I'm just gonna.
You got these memorized, my friend.
Well, it's not that hard, Phil. You're not. So, and the other one is that. So to answer his question, I'm actually going to use 2 light bulb moments.
All right. One
was Ken Nelson. Remember, what Ken said was that don't let someone's actions drive your emotions.
Wow.
So we're divided. It's divisive. So if someone's making that a tough situation for you, don't get emotional by their actions. Take control of the situation. Or as Nick Dubach said, control the chaos.
Yeah.
Those are the 2. I guess I can go to Glenn Gottfried too, which because it gets worse. The no asshole rule.
Yeah. Offensive friends.
I didn't know you knew Glenn.
He was on the podcast episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know the
Glenn and
episode.
I were equity partners for
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
Never met him. Like to. Seems like a
Good
good
guy.
guy.
Great guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn is the no asshole rule. Go ahead.
No, I mean, the whole family thing, I always believe it's conversations. And you have to have conversations with your spouses or without your spouses. And, back before we opened up Post Dog, I'd come home on Thursday nights and my wife Angela and I would have wine. We would talk about our week. Like, how was your week going? What's going on with this? And at this time, I think she was working for you. And we'd go back and forth. And then recently, maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we had a conversation, well needed, well overdue conversation. And I think that's the biggest thing is communication and having conversations with your loved one, with your spouses, with your friends. And those are the best ways to resolve the issues before they get even too big. You can't control them.
Got it. What do you have to say?
Well, I think he's saying that there's, this polarizing. I stay away from politics and religion.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to listen to anybody's political views if they're not so extreme one way or another. If somebody raises some good points, I like to digest what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
So I prefer just to listen. or if I'm not vibrating on the same energy wave, I just, I have to run to the bathroom. That's it.
Welcome back, Steve.
Good segue.
So it's up to you, man. Before I'll take a crack at it.
Politics and religion, family and family businesses. I mean, that's been my entire life. Family is someone you always have to remember that they're family and you love them. You don't have to agree with them. So I mean, I was very fortunate to be, walk into a family business that my mom had really started and was groundbreaking in what she did. And then my brother joined the business with us, and we had our times. Let me tell you, we had our times. But I will tell you that there's not a greater partner that I ever had than my brother working with me and what he did for the business. We figured out what we did best, and we just made it happen and let it happen. And so that was great. But with family and that, it's hard sometimes. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure. I always have no issue with the fact that you're still family. I still love you. Hope that they agree with that same premise at the end of the day. But as far as politics, religion, and all that other stuff, that it was just, Mike might have mentioned there, that I love talking politics with people, and I could be a Democrat, Republican, or the guy in the middle in any conversation, because I love challenging people and hearing what they have to say and seeing if I can push their buttons a little bit to really get their views. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I love people who are willing to debate and chat and have that and still be friends at the end of the day, no matter what their views, end up being. That's a problem with the world right now, is that people are so polarized that they won't just meet in the middle and just say, we're all humans. No, you can have your opinion, I can have my opinion, and we can still share a steak.
Yeah.
Yep. As long as it's seasoned properly.
Touche.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on Steve's thought there is that they're going to get in conversation where people don't want to change. They're not going to change their mind. They're going to stay
That's
pig-headed and say, this is it. Walk away from that conversation. You're not going to change. As Mike just said, if they're willing to have a conversation with you and listen to you, then I'm willing to be part of that conversation. I might learn something from their point of view. They may learn something from my point of view. But if you're not going to listen to us and have a conversation, just want to dictate this conversation, I'm out.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it is that you want to surround yourself with people that think the same way. And I found this, I can't remember the book, and I'm surprised I can't remember the book, but it was the concept of it was it doesn't matter where it's from. I'll think of it at some point. But it was the concept of, if you're in an argument with somebody and you really don't care about the result of the conversation, whether you win or lose, then you're just trying to win a conversation and you don't really care about the result, then just, it's like diffuse it. And it was funny when I was at the Cleveland Clinic, I won't mention the name of the person that I was talking to or the person I was talking about, but they said, well, when this person elevates, what do you do? And I said, well, elevate in kind, of course. And I'll try to beat them. And they said, why don't you try to diffuse the situation, de-escalate, and see what happens? And as a result of me doing that, the situation diffused immediately. And I didn't have to worry about anything else related to that conversation. I tried it multiple times and it worked every single time. And it's like, okay, you're probably right, And then it was done. And we were on the other thing. And I think that it was brought up based on, couples, like marital couples. That's where it's the worst. And then you're fighting about some nonsense. And I think that's important too, is because that's where those conversations sometimes come up. So Val, do we have one more? Or all right, you ready to cue it, or should I keep talking? All right. Huh? All right, let's fire it up. We got one more. All right.
Hey, it's Rafi. I want to ask a question to your friends, the people that are going to be there. How they perceive and see the economy till end of this year, and what precaution, what they did to either cut overhead or deal with the changes in so many things so many landscapes. I just want to hear from them what steps they took or what they are going to do, and when they think this whole chaos is going to end.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty heavy to near the end of the podcast, but that's all right.
Well, we got another hour for the podcast, right? Because it's going to take that long to answer that.
All right, well, go ahead, Mike. You start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a former trader from a previous lifetime. And I'm probably wrong with what I think on my timing, but I think I'm right in my direction. First of all, I think this Iran conflict is escalated beyond what the current administration thought it would. And I think that they talk about inflation. I think we're more in a stagflation type environment. 10-year traded up to almost 4.5% today.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oil was back up. I long haul, I think you want to be, and this is not any kind of investment advice to anybody. These are just my general thoughts for myself, and I'll share those. I've been long most material stocks and commodities for the last 3 or 4 years. So gold, silver, copper, platinum, palladium. I feel that we are going to see some serious devaluation across global currencies. If you want to read about this, there's a thing called the debasement trade. And I think that we're going to see a correction in the stock market. The stagflation, inflation environment will probably turn into some sort of recession, is what I think, in the next 6 to 18 months.
Got it. 6 to 18. I like it.
Again, not advice to anybody, just
Yeah.
my own personal thoughts.
Do your research. Ask ChatGPT. Yeah, don't do that. Go ahead, Steve. What do you got from a restaurant perspective?
Well, I mean, from going from an investment and global perspective down to a local grassroots small business perspective, the environment's tough right now, and you got to figure out daily how to play this new game. It's food prices are out of control, but it's out of control for 3 weeks, and then it comes down, but something else goes up, and so your menu is crazy, and you can't keep reprinting and doing and that for what's happening. But the other part of it is the labor world has changed. In the labor world, one, of finding people that are of quality to do the job, and two, the with everything going on in not necessarily minimum wage, but the cost of labor is so high right now that it's game changing in the small business, especially our type of small business world, to the point where it's going to affect the check average. But at the same time, what's affecting the check average? Higher taxes. And if you look on if there's a breakdown of all the taxes, the sales taxes you pay, it's staggering. And so you start to put all these things in there, and it's hard for a family to afford to go out to dinner and afford to do that, especially in today's environment. So our world, the COVID of meal plans and doing things for family meals and for other things, all that's still in play after COVID, because of we went from a health environment that was very hard to do business in to now in a new environment between the politics and the food inflation, whether it's we're in inflation somewhere else or not. Chicken wings one week are at tomatoes right now, right? Let's just even say tomatoes. Tomatoes should be somewhere about $36 a case. And right now, I think they came down a little to like $76 a case, but they were up in the 90s.
Holy cow.
So
Green peppers.
green peppers and this, and there's no explanation. There's weather, there's the cartel, there's this, whatever the newsletter says. It makes no sense. But from week in limes, I mean, week to week, it's something different going on. Right now, chicken wings are cheap, but chicken breasts and chicken thighs are high. So in our world of trying to build things into a profit center and make money, it's very difficult. Sometimes you're just happy to pay your bills and wait it out a little bit to an extent. but you can't live on that.
Yeah, so just the unpredictability of things. I think that's what's generally causing these economic upheaval is that it's really hard to know what your business is going to look like from week to week. So that's especially in the restaurant business.
And it's hard to see what it is in our world, in the global environment, at least in Mike's world, in the business he's doing, you can see where the war affects us or this affects us, and you can change investments or your strategies and things. Our strategies, I mean, I don't know if California had good weather last week or, so that's in Mexico. We get a lot of products here from Mexico and that, and what the weather and prospects are and other prospects are that are making this all happen.
Got it. You steal all your stuff, Jason?
No, I mean, I think we're in the restaurant industry. I think what's going to happen in that industry is, on average, the consumer used to go out 2 to 3 times a week. And now that's becoming 2 to 1 time a week. And that's going to make them say, I'm going to be very specific of where I'm going because I want to make sure I get the value and the experience that I'm buying. So the average restaurant that is just skating by with the same menu, the same items that they've always done, those restaurants will struggle because they don't have the service aspect of it and they're not providing an experience. So the restaurants that are constantly developing, rechanging, those are restaurants that you will always see that they can take a dip because they can realize they can change their menus, they can change atmosphere, they can change drinks to drive revenue back. But the people who stay stagnant, those restaurants, it'll be very, very hard in the next, I would say, 8 to 16 months. I would probably say locally, if we put a pinpoint here and went 3-4 miles, I would say 10 to 15, 17% of restaurants will close.
Wow.
They will not handle it. They can't handle the labor. They can't handle the food costs because half of them don't know what they are. I mean, he says we can't change our menus all the time. Well, we change our menus 3-4 times a week. So when I see tomatoes jump up, I look at my food costs. I have programs that do this. So I change my pricing. When something goes up, I'll just charge more because I know I want to stay in that food percentage of profitability, which will help that go longer because you can control your costs more. I can't really control what gas is, electric is. Food costs I can control because I can just raise my price. But now we go out to dinner and what's a cheeseburger now? $20?
Wow.
I mean, I think we're at $19 a cheeseburger and fries, and I think we're at a 32% food cost, which is 7% higher than I want to be.
Explain food costs for our break community here.
So food cost breaks down all of the material that you bring in and what it costs to put that entree or item on a plate. So if you look at our cheeseburger, so it's going to be the bun, the meat, the cheese, the lettuce, the red onion, the pickles, and then the aioli. Then the French fries, the oil that's used on the French fries, and the salt. And that will get that up to what that costs to make that dish.
So that helps determine pricing.
It helps determine pricing.
Got it.
So our pricing goes up and down. So when something comes down, we naturally do lower our prices.
Yeah.
Like we had, we'll talk about a dish that used to be, $35, $36, and all of a sudden it came down. We'll be at $32 because as long as I stay in that sweet spot where I want to be, I think it's fair for everybody.
Oh, interesting.
I just want to add one thing.
Sure.
As all these inflationary costs go up, food costs, the price of gas, labor costs, people are going to have a hard time paying for gas to get to work. At the same time, the US dollar is going to be devalued because of this government debt. The Fed's going to have to continue to try to cut interest rates, which they've done twice this year, but the 10-year still rallies up beyond that.
It's unbelievable.
And they're going to have to continue to cut rates to try to pay off the interest on the debt. It's going to be problematic because all these prices are going up and the US dollar is going to start to devalue itself. That's why I think we're going to see a recession.
Got it. We got to not end on a
Negative.
depression.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Rafi. Go ahead. What do you got to say, Bill? And we want to hear these things. These are important for our
discipline
breaking.
pays. So if you stay disciplined in what you're doing, as we just heard from Jason, that this is my process. This is why I have to keep these costs up and down with the cost. So you know, and I go back to my days of investment banking and the yield curve and playing the yield curve the right way for your business. I don't know everyone's business, but you know, if all rates are the same, you go as long as you can. If the yield curve is really steep, you
Mhm.
stay as short as you can. It's simple. It's really simple, you know, going back to ninth grade math, if you will, and staying disciplined in your field and understanding what your needs are is going to make you successful in this economy or any economy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. You have to figure out where other people aren't going, and you got to sort of stabilize. But here's where I think, and this will lead into our next question, but I think the fixed costs are our final question, then we'll have a little bit of a wrap. Anybody before I make my point, anything else? All right. So the fixed costs of things in businesses like health insurance, and that's like a huge jump this last year, right? And that's where it makes it hard to make it marginal, because people and the consumers are absorbing into this. And when you raise your prices to meet your obligations, you've sort of priced people out. I think you sort of talked about it. We talked about unpredictability. However, I think the top thing with the economy and where we're going to go a little wrong is related to the fact that the labor and people are investing huge amount of money into college education. They're spending all their time getting into businesses and jobs that aren't going to be there. And they're not taking into consideration the AI and how it's affecting it. I mean, I see in the law, and this will be the shift is how it's affecting. I think I just told, Mary at my office, I think in the next year, AI will displace thousands and thousands of attorneys because it's so very, very useful in my industry. And that's not just for drafting documents, it's for having a thought leader on your side, sort of communicating and strategizing. So I think all of these things are a big situation, but I think what do you think people should do? And in relation to, there'll be two more questions and then we'll end it, is what do you think people should do as business owners now to address some of these concerns?
Know your costs. I'd bet you that in our industry, 80 to 85% of all the restaurants have no idea what their costs are. They don't understand a labor cost. They don't understand a food cost. They don't understand a P&L. They can't read one. That is the biggest problem. So everyone in every business is going to have to cut back and try to save where they can and try to figure out where is profitable. If you have a food dish on your item that you're not selling, why have it on there?
Got it.
Know your costs.
Yeah, I mean, one of our businesses last year, our revenues increased 8%. Our expenses were up 10%.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a good cash position, and I try to employ as many people. With that business, we have almost 300 employees. I try to employ as many people as I can, but at some point, I'm going to have to cut back. And I'm not sure how long, just to be honest, and I'm not a tech person. Once quantum computing comes out and Google put out their big Q Day notice, which is sometime in 29.
29.
Yeah, it's moving quick, and it's going to completely disrupt AI.
Whew.
Is my feeling.
Well,
Things are moving fast.
That'll disrupt everything.
Yeah.
And do we have to blame you for this?
I'm just I jumped on the wagon.
Bill, what do you think?
You know, I'm going to go back and just pick out. I don't remember who said it on your, but get your data more regularly and act on your data. That's basically what Jason just said again. And I can't remember who said that on your podcast recently. It's again a brilliant thought process. Don't wait
till the quarter ends.
Yeah.
Or the month ends.
Right. Get it as frequently as possible and act on that data.
Got it. Steve?
I'm gonna go a different direction altogether and say get involved. Get involved with things like an entrepreneur group where you're meeting people and doing things. Get involved in groups where you meet people like that are sitting here at the table today. But get involved in your local. I mean, our friendship, Bill, and everything that you and I have was from getting involved in our local community. And that relationship capital all started from the Grange Business Association and being involved in doing things. If you get involved, but also you got to get involved and use your voice, politically in the world, doesn't matter what side of the aisle or who's in office or whatever's going on. The people that you elect, don't understand what you do sometimes. And you need to educate them because they're the people that are going to pass laws or change things and make things happen. And, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, I'll sit down with either one of them and tell my story. And I can only hope that at the end of the day, that helps to change things or make things better into my business world and understanding what it's like for me to do things for my employees and things like that. But if you sit back quietly and don't say anything and don't get involved, you get nothing. So, you got to run your business, you got to do these things, but at the same time, you have to be involved. You have to be involved in your community, but you also have to be involved in things. Your voice is what is going to make a difference in the world. So you just need to. So whether you have a relationship, you need to get a relationship with your local elected officials, whoever they are, or your local state elected officials, and that's how we forge change. And that's how they understand that the law that just passed is either great for you or not good for you. And what can we do to make things better, or how can we help other people? That all happens with having the conversation and being involved.
That's great. So I guess we'll just go into the wrap and not ask the last question because that was so insightful. Did Anne Marie get on, by the way, before we go to the last? Hey, Anne Marie, how are you doing?
Hi, Anne Marie. That's Phil's wife. In case those don't know, listening.
All right. Well, let's wrap. Anything else to add to the Bright community, and then we'll wrap it up.
This has been a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate everyone's friendship and going through this. And this is one of the reasons that if you listen to this podcast on a regular basis, the things I keep saying, I have picked up over the last couple of years off this, Phil. So what you're doing is great, but it's happening because of the relationships you have and the relationships we've made because of you. So thanks very much for having us.
Thank you, Bill Carney.
Big things are going to come. I feel it. And I would say in the next 18 months, we're going to sit here and there's going to be a different conversation.
All right. It's exciting.
Let's just concentrate on relationship capital and relationships because I think it's so important, and it's how I've made my entire life and what I've done things. And I will go back to a relationship that I talked about the last time, and it's still true today. Michael Mira and I are friends and been friends from many different directions, but the relationship that went back into 1983, actually early 80s, Michael Mira's father was the president of a bank and had a bank in Western Springs. And when other banks didn't believe in my mom and her concept and what she wanted to do in LaGrange, which was game changing at the time, and my mom was a woman and people didn't want to, where's your husband at? Was the conversation back in those days. Mike's father not only believed in her, thought about it and everything else, and gave her first bank loan to make Palmer Place happen, which is still a going entity today. And that was from relationship building and relationship capital and trusting people. I know that it's hard to do because people screw people nowadays, and that's what happens. But I do believe that's the core of making things better. And so Mike's story earlier of how, he doesn't have a contract with the guy and whatever else, and one of his businesses, they're getting towards that, but they're still making things happen and all these things without that. That's the relationship capital, and that's where the foundation and where light bulb moments has sprung into the next thing.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that was good, Steve. Thank you for pointing that out. I would say I'd end on that. I would say that you're a very genuine host, and so I enjoy doing this.
Thank you. All right, so I think that this is sort of, you see the feeling here that we have amongst each other. We want you to experience that. We want you to find your people, and this group will be very active if you reach out to them. Anybody on our guest list will always be there to activate and help you in whatever you do. We love being part of your night, and thank you for joining us. We love being part of this wonderful Bright community. We have so many great things to come, as Jason alluded to, and this is what we're doing here. So we're very, as Mike said, authentic. So feel free to give us feedback. Thank you for everyone that called on the Spark line and texted in. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you next week for another positive day of illuminating thoughts and light bulb moments. Stay bright, everyone. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers.
Salud.
Oops.